Harrison, thank you for joining. It's great to have you on the First Mint. Let's get right into it. I think probably the biggest question everybody has is you have one moment on Top Shot. It will be labeled your first moment. It's going to get that tag eventually. Yep. Is that a Harrison Barnes worthy moment, the 3-pointer that we see there?
The corner three, that's a shot that I've made one of my go-tos in this league. So I liked it. I was honestly surprised it was a metallic gold just for that. De'Aaron Fox did not believe it should have been that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you remember that specific play?
I do. But when I initially got on Top Shot and I was seeing some of the other kind of like moments that were in, metallic gold, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wonder what, mine would be. I assume that type of shot would have been a common shot because Bielitsa's shot was the one he hit on Houston. It was a game winner. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, if I was going to get that, it's probably something else. But it was pretty cool, like to see, my first card on there. That was the first purchase I got. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
If you had to pick, like you're saying, corner three is kind of your signature move. What would you want to see as your next play?
Signature shot, for sure.
Signature shot. Sorry, your signature shot, not your signature move. What would you see? Like, would you want to see your signature move, like a handles play or a jump or a different jumper? Like, what if you got into the Top Shot mind and you could tell them what you want to see of your own self? Like, what kind of plays would you want to see?
Oh, dunks. I mean, to me, I feel like those are unless it's like a run it back, like dunks are one of the highest anticipated moments that are out there. Obviously LeBron's dunk was one of the highest ever sold. So, I definitely would want some of my dunks in the past and moving forward to be kind of, the preference.
Is there any particular dunk you can remember from any time in your career that you'd be like, that's the one I need in there? It's kind of a tough question. You've been in the NBA for a while, so there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I'd say probably my rookie year against Pekovic. That one I would have to go out of my way to try to find the number 40 serial number for. That one I'd have to make a nice offer on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. When you're looking at your moment, I think how much did you initially buy yours for? What was it?
I bought it for $460.
Okay. Now it's going for like, I don't know, like $800, $1,000 and stuff like that. Like, how's that?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Because obviously people have been buying like your jersey for years, which is, can be a couple $100 and tons of other stuff, other memorabilia of yours. Like, now that people are buying like a digital asset, that's a highlight. Like, how does it make you feel any kind of way if people are spending $1,000 on it?
It's crazy. When I initially, because I was still like learning the platform, and obviously Tyrese was great in terms of just getting me, used to it and everything that was going on. But like, I bought it for $460. I was like, okay, like this is pretty cool, right? Like, let me go buy another one for $460. And I'm looking at the price. I'm like, oh man, like the price already went up that quick. And the next day it already changed again. And I was like, the volatility of these pricings is crazy. So I think it speaks really to the excitement that all of the collectors have, just in terms of buying moments and how quickly things move in that market.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about some of your purchases so far outside of your own moment.
Man, some of my purchases so far. So after I bought my moment, I just randomly started seeing which serial numbers I could get for a decent price. I either had 888 or 888, right? I just kind of randomly went through there. I had no reason. I was like, they say, this is, those are like good serial numbers to get. Like, you should find them. And then I was fortunate enough to get into the Top Shot Snipers Discord group. And then that's when I really started to kind of just learn different strategies and different cards that are valuable, what to look for, what not to look for, try to get lower serial numbers, try to get, whether it's complete challenges to get rewards, or, get, whether it's a cool cats or whether it's, metallic gold or hollows or whatever it may be. So that's what really kind of led me to that. So, to be able to get the, the AD in the last Cool Cats challenge to be able to get the D Rose and the gift challenge. So that was pretty cool.
Nice, nice. I also noticed you've got 2 Vince Carter final shots in there, as well as the Luca. Tell me about the Vince,
And
man, because I grew up Raptors fan. That's a very special moment for me. I've got a few as well, and I made sure to collect them along the way. But tell me about that for you.
I mean, going to UNC, Vince was, he was my favorite player at UNC other than, MJ, right? Like he was that guy. And, to be able to get that last moment, it's special. Like, there's some moments that you find on Top Shot that you're like I'm keeping these, right? Like, that's why I got 2, and, potentially more. It's just because, you want those in your collection no matter what. And, when they start bringing back those throwback Raptors Vince highlights, the website is already crashing, but it'll continue to crash, when those drop.
I totally agree with you, man. Is there if you could pick like any, even a couple historical highlights that you'd love to see from stuff you were watching growing up or before that, like outside of Vince, what else would be on your radar?
I need the Kobe assist to Shaq against Portland. I need that one where he crosses over Scotty, goes to him, throws it up to Shaq. Shaq. When that hit, I don't know if they ever do it.
Man, I hope so.
But if they got that one, AI's shot over Ty Lue.
Of course. That's one of the classics, man. Absolutely.
Man, it's classic. And then I don't know if they would do T-Mac's dunk over Sean Bradley. They got to look at that one too.
I know people have been asking for like the T-Mac, like whatever, it was like 13 points in like 30 seconds or whatever. I don't know if you remember that game where he like scored, like they were down by 10 with like 30 seconds left and he somehow scored 13 points. But people have been wondering how that could become a moment, right? Is like, because it's so many
just
together.
Put the whole clip out there. Yeah, exactly.
It's like one whole set. It's like every bucket in that sequence is part of one big set, right? Yeah. Exactly. Very cool. Very cool. Are you, we're gonna put this out, not long after we chat with you. The Seeing Stars is out, the Rising Stars are coming out, the Cool Cats 3 is coming out. There is going to be Run It Back Part 3 as well, which is going to be, it's going to have Shaq and AI and McGrady. What's on your radar out of all that stuff? Because I'm sure like everybody else, like you can't collect everything, right? Like if you got to pick some of that stuff, what's it going to be?
Man, that's tough. Just because, especially with the Dapper balance, that's another just, it's a roadblock, man. I don't deal in crypto, so my cap is at 4 every day. So that is what it is. But if I had to choose between, you said the Run It Back, the Cool Cats 3, the Rising Star, I would say I think the Run It Back is the most valuable, just because with those you don't know how many of those cards are going to come out, right? Like obviously, AI, T-Mac, these guys, whoever's going to be in that pack, they have so many different moments. But if Top Shot only chooses to do one for the foreseeable future, that just continues to drive those values up. And especially depending on which moment it is, right? Like if it's an iconic moment, people will go out of their way. They will get investment groups to go out of the way to get that moment. So I would prioritize that first, and then probably the Cool Cats 3.
Who else is if you kind of notice you've been buying like a little bit every day or so, who else is on your radar outside of the new stuff? What are any other players, teammates, anybody else, or any other just moments, maybe for their set or something like that? What are you looking at right now?
Man, I need someone to help me out with that new Tyrese dunk that just came out. That one, nice. I need that one. And then what's another card I'm eyeing? I would say Jaws, Series 2 Metallic Gold. That's another one that I've been keeping my eye on. But the price, the price has been consistently high on that one for sure. It's in demand. So
is that the dunk where like when he came back from his ankle injury, like the alley-oop? Yeah, that one's amazing.
So I think those right now, like I said, I haven't seen all of the cards that have come out in the Seeing Stars pack. But
Yeah.
I saw the Tyrese one, and I was like, I need that one in my collection because I don't have the first bucket one either. So I want to try to
Mhm.
collect my teammates.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Would you consider that, are you more inclined to collect your teammates maybe than the rest of the league? Is that a strategy for you maybe?
For sure. I mean, I want to collect, guys I played with,
Mm.
and current teammates that are on it as well, right? Like if I have, if I get a couple more of my cards, and I'll send it to, a guy who's on my team, or maybe even trade. You know what I'm saying? Just to, because that's part of the fun of being a collector, with guys that you play with, right? Like throughout any game, right? There's always, moments that could happen. And like I remember when we were in Tampa when Tyrese had that dunk. We were talking about before the game. He's like, no, I think I can get a body this game. Like I'm feeling good. My legs are feeling good. I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then for that
Oh,
to
that's
happen and
amazing.
for it to end up on Top Shot, it's kind of like it's a crazy full circle moment. So that's pretty cool.
See, that's what I've been wondering too, right? Is that like, will it actually kind of start to impact the game? And not that you guys necessarily go out and play just to have a fancy dunk or something like that. But at the same time, if it's kind of in your head before the locker room and you kind of have a chance to like, make a dunk extra special or make a shot extra special, is that something you see as this grows, like maybe kind of invading a bit of the player mindset?
Well, it was interesting when Anthony Edwards had that crazy dunk.
Also on
You
the
know,
Raptors. Also on the Raptors. I just want to say, yeah. Also
uh,
against the Raptors. So
also
many
on the
things are against the
Raptors.
Raptors. I know. Josh Hart was complaining the other day that a lot of the highlights seem to be against the Pelicans, but I feel like in the league in general, a lot of things seem to happen against the Raptors. Like Kobe's 82-point game against the Raptors. You know what I mean? Like Linsanity against the Raptors. Like there's so many things that have happened
Yeah.
against the Raptors. So, anyways, go on. Sorry.
No, so I think like when that dunk happened, it was like obviously this is, I'm sure he'll have a bunch of highlights throughout his long career, but like this is an iconic moment for him, right? Like, I mean, that was just a crazy dunk, probably dunk of the year. But it was like, how soon will Top Shot wait in order to put that moment out there, right?
Right.
So you're kind of always, you're now thinking of like when all of these moments happen, whether it's a game winner, a crazy block, a dunk, a crossover, all these type of things, like how soon, will they be able to turn these moments out in their timeline? Because like you said, I mean, just looking at this next month and a half, there's so many different things that are coming out. Not to mention if something happens in the All-Star game or something happens, when we come back from the break.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's so much potential. Is that like, say you went off for like a huge game one night and you had a bunch of dunks, bunch of 3-pointers, like bunch of great plays. Would you see a world where like after the game, it's like you're presented with like an iPad and they're like, all right, Harrison, here's like 5 amazing plays you had tonight. Pick one and it's gonna be a top shot in the morning. Is that something you could see happening or that you'd welcome?
I mean, that would be crazy. If that ever happened, that would be that would be nuts. Just because as of now, like a lot of people think that us as NBA players we have access or we get packs and things like that, but like that's not the case. Like you and me have the same connection to Top Shot and the same access to packs as anybody else. So I think that would be pretty cool to at least have a little bit of say in terms of which of our player moments go out.
I hope we get to that world, man. I really see like in blockchain, like the potential for like that not just player, but like creator empowerment, right? Like I think that'd be really cool if we could get there. So I'd love to see that. Um, let's chat real quick about your collection strategy, right? And I know you're telling me before that it's not always it's not always easy to find all the information you need in Top Shot. Looking at the Tyrese Halliburton dunk and stuff like that, like when all this new supply comes out for you as kind of a relatively casual, like you're pretty into it, but I don't know if you're on it like all day, maybe like like me and some of the other analytics guys. What are some of your questions? What are some of the stuff you're wondering about when there's so much new stuff happening in Top Shot, which is going to be normal. There's always going to be new stuff happening. What are you wondering about? What are you most curious about when this happens, when there's so much change?
Well, for me, I think there's two things, right? Like the information channels. You know, not everyone has the same access to information. And when I mean information, I don't mean like what's being released from Top Shot, but in terms of prices, right? When a card comes out, like what is good value and what is not. Like obviously there's the sentimental, look, if a moment means a lot to you, if it's a Raptors moment, if it's, myself or one of my teammates or somebody I play with, like you want those moments. But how do you determine, okay, if does it make sense for me to buy these cards to finish this challenge? Or could I buy this set after the challenge is over on the market, right? And I think you kind of see how these things fluctuate, right? Like the price of the AD Cool Cat post challenge versus the price of the D Rose gift post challenge, right? So you kind of just start to see those things, and is it worth it to, you know, try to anticipate what's going to happen before a challenge comes out, or buy it when it does? Hollows, for example, consistently maintain value, but that is just a completely different ballgame in terms of the investment required to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think those are just some of the different questions that you try to find of like, how do you figure out what's good value and when the price of a card is going to stabilize?
It is not easy to do. And I will tell you, as much as I'd love to show you some of the tools, I think we're still so early in Top Shot that
Yeah.
those tools are still to come. And there's so much new stuff happening, so many new people that it's like, that's some of the hardest stuff to predict, honestly, is like, what's going to happen? Those are the questions we get the most is like, all right, D Rose, like how much is it going to be worth? How much should I be paying for it to get all the moments? And how much is it going to be worth after the challenge? Like in 2 months, right? It's hot now, but in 2 months, is it going to be that new that he's back on the Knicks? Like probably not, right? It's just kind of like the flow, right? So my
Yep.
advice is always, probably my biggest piece of advice when I'm chatting with some new collectors is try and think like 10 days ahead. You know what I mean? Like obviously everybody, there's a new pack. I got to get it. I got to go buy the Tyrese or whatever. But it's like, what I tell people is like, go with the facts of what is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. There's going to be a pack drop or two every week. We're going to keep growing. For the rookies, for example, it's like they're going to get new moments, right? And all the players are going to get new moments. So look back and think about like, okay, what do I think is actually going to retain value? And out of all the challenges coming up, which ones are actually significant? I'll give you an example. You're talking about Hollow. Well, the Series 1 stuff, it is expensive. But that hollow, that James Harden, which is the reward for the current hollow challenge, it's like that's his first moment in a Nets jersey. And it's like, they're a contender this year. So it's like if they go all the way, Harden finally wins a title. It's like, hey man, you got his first one in a Nets jersey, and it's very rare. It's a 1 of 100 or maybe less, right? Because it's only minted to a certain number. It's like, it's an expensive challenge, but it's like that's not a bad moment to have long term. So I kind of like advise people just like kind of think in the more holistic sense of the game of like what's going to happen, and in a few months, what would you be happy to still hold on to? Cool, Harrison. Well, it's been great to have you, and I really appreciate the chat, man. It's really great to kind of get your perspective, and I'm sure a lot of people in the Top Shot community are gonna appreciate hearing from you. And what are your as the season goes on, are there you have any more plans in Top Shot? Are you're gonna invest more? Are you gonna try and round out your collections, finish some sets, or is this gonna be kind of a casual thing for you?
No, I mean, I'm definitely gonna continue to stay plugged in. Want to continue to complete sets, go back and get some old Series 1 cards, and try to stay up to date with all of these new drops, and see what deals I can get.
What would it take for you to sell both of those Vince Carter moments?
Not on the market right now. Not on the market. I cannot part with either of those right now.
That is a good answer.